Many new parents face sleep deprivation and constant nighttime disruptions, but feel stuck facing conflicting advice that they don't have time or energy for. In this video, I'll not only reveal how the ancestral practice of co-sleeping can be the key to better sleep for both you and your newborn, but I'll also debunk common myths surrounding this practice. It's not weird, it's not dangerous, and it won't last until your kid is 15, contrary to what other people might tell you. In fact, co-sleeping is the #1 unconventional thing that I am so glad our family has done. Stay tuned to find out how a simple adjustment can transform your nightly routine and set the record straight on co-sleeping. Okay, so first let's talk about the main point, which is co-sleeping can actually lead to better sleep for everyone involved. Consider the disruption you experience in the middle of the night when your baby wakes up, crying down the hall, and you have to get up, or mom has to get up, walk to the other room, feed your baby in a chair for a while maybe, and having to stay awake long enough to put your baby back to sleep. And then you come back to bed only to have to try to fall asleep yourself all over again. Co-sleeping simplifies all of that. A breastfeeding mother can feed her baby in a side-lying position and not even need to get up and go into another room. And this allows both of them to kind of pass through feeding sessions in more of a dream state, which is much better for everybody's sleep. And even if you're formula feeding, you still have bottles ready by the bed. You're not having to leave the bed to feed the baby. And it's no mystery that sleep is hard for new parents, still hard for parents that co-sleep, but adding more disruption to that routine is making it harder than it has to be. Now that we've established the problems of sleeping apart, let's imagine a time long before cribs and baby monitors, back to when our ancestors were the primary caregivers for their infant. It's a reality that probably seems distant and irrelevant to a lot of us because we live in a modern world with a lot of modern conveniences. But our bodies are all still working on the same DNA, we all still have the same biological blueprint, and we all still have the same biological expectations. Our ancestors, when they were hunter-gatherers and sleeping outside, they wouldn't have put their baby to sleep on the ground and then gone and slept in another spot 30 feet away. Many parents these days start their newborn baby in a crib and make the shift to a separate bedroom after only a matter of months. I'm gonna ask why. Why do we do this? Why do we follow this trend? And that's where I feel like our biological disconnect happens. Our babies are born with an innate sense of expecting closeness and security, and that's a remnant of those co-sleeping practices that we've had over the years. Fast forward to today, and even though now we live in homes and apartments and our children don't face the dangers of our ancestors, they still have the same biological expectations of closeness and security and wanting to be near us, and they also experience separation from us through that lens of safety. The transition to an independent sleep space might feel like the norm because you just hear that's what everybody's doing. It's worth questioning if that's what's truly best for our babies or ourselves. So the next time you consider moving your baby to their own room, I want to ask yourself, are you aligning with their biological needs, or are you aligning with just kind of what you think is expected of a young family? Okay, let's talk about what I think is maybe the biggest thing that gets overlooked with co-sleeping, and that's the emotional connection that is fostered through co-sleeping. I feel really strongly about this. One of the classic knocks that people say about co-sleeping is, oh, you'll never get your kid out of your bed. And that bothers me so much. One, that's not true, but it also sidesteps maybe the heart of the argument, and that is that if you co-sleep with your kids, you may never want them to leave your bed either. There is nothing like the feeling of having your child snuggled up warm next to you, whether it's the sound of their breathing or what they're like when they wake up. Honestly, for me, it even just resets my perspective on what's important. And you think about how much of our lives we spend sleeping and how much additional time you could get with your child just sleeping next to them. And I know that might sound trivial because you're both asleep, but I don't think our bodies experience it that way when they share that closeness for all that extra time. Now, obviously, it's not just about you. The act of co-sleeping builds emotional bonds for your child too. The close physical presence helps strengthen the same sense of security I talked about earlier that your baby feels around you. And that is something they want to feel around you. They feel disconnected. Something feels wrong for them when they don't have that. So here's a question to ponder as you go forward, which is, if your nightly routine includes this level of closeness, could it be deepening your emotional connection with your child? Okay, and any video about co-sleeping being great is going to have to address what all the people who are against it are going to talk about. And that's a major concern for many parents, which is safety. The idea of co-sleeping can raise a lot of alarms about the risks of rolling onto your baby, crushing them in your sleep, and other hazards like that. And so what if I told you that a lot of that concern about safety is not as daunting as it seems? Because our bodies are really wired to be incredibly sensitive to our surroundings while we sleep. Evolution has equipped us with the ability to detect and respond to our baby's presence. Remember, we evolved to sleep next to them. While it may seem unusual in Western society, I live in the United States, millions of families across different cultures practice co-sleeping safely. As long as you're not under the influence of alcohol, drugs, medication that would impair your senses, co-sleeping can be a very safe practice. One thing that is important to watch out for if you co-sleep with your young child is to keep them clear of your pillows and blanket. These are real suffocation hazards to take seriously, whether they sleep with or without you. So it's important to create a steady spot on the bed where they won't have the covers tossed over them. You can easily accomplish this by purchasing a baby insert that goes right between the two of you and cushions your baby safely on top of the blanket. So I'll ask you to consider, could the fear of safety be more about misconceptions than actual risk that you can mitigate? So to wrap up, co-sleeping offers more than just an alternative to modern sleeping arrangements. It's a practice rooted in our biology. It's safety conscious when done correctly and beneficial for sleep quality and emotional bonding with your family. There's a saying that the simplest solution is often the best one, and in my experience raising two girls, co-sleeping has been just a textbook application of that principle. It goes for a lot of other things in parenting too, and if you like that idea, I think you should stick around and check out some of my other videos. By understanding and embracing co-sleeping, you might just find the key to a more restful and connected co-sleeping experience. Tell me about your experience with co-sleeping down in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.